Florida Congressman Byron Donalds serves on the House Oversight and Financial Services Committee. He is also a candidate for Florida governor and joins us now. Great to have you back with us.
Good morning. Good to be back with you.
Yeah, let's take a look. There were 4 Republicans who broke with the party and joined the Democrats to pass this war power resolution, which we should say is non-binding. They are Tom Barrett of Michigan, Warren Davidson of Ohio, Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania, and Thomas Massie of Kentucky. Of course, that's not a surprise there. But here is what Congressman Barrett wrote on X. He says, "My support of this resolution tonight is consistent with my belief that it's time for Congress to decide the scope of the mission and the appropriate limits on the use of force in Iran." And again, it's non-binding, but what's your message to the Republicans that broke with the party and your message to the people about when this is going to end?
I disagree with them, and the reason why is that we're not even engaged in kinetic activity right now. Everybody knows that kinetic hostilities, they stopped several weeks ago. The president's been trying to find a diplomatic solution to bring this to an end. And to have members of Congress, and I'm not even going to just say the Republicans, even the Democrats, when you do something like this, when you know the commander-in-chief is at the negotiating table, all you're doing is providing more leverage to the Iranian regime. Why would you do that? It'd be something very different if we had troops on the ground and we were engaged in active kinetic warfare. We are not right now. There is a tentative ceasefire in place. They are at the negotiating table. So quite frankly, for members to vote for this, the 4 Republicans, but then also all the Democrats, just to get a political win, doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't help the negotiations. It doesn't improve the leverage of the United States in those negotiations. In my view, it undermines us. And I think that's why the president came out on Truth Social and made his statement. Look, I know we have a lot of members up here who do not want to be in wars. That's totally true. I don't want to be in wars either. But you don't undermine the commander-in-chief when he's trying to negotiate a settlement to end hostilities. If, like I said at the top, if we were in active warfare, that's something altogether. Probably wouldn't support that resolution, but that's something totally different. Everybody knows that we're not. The Democrats are trying to get a political win, frankly, to the detriment of the United States.
And then, of course, there's the constitutionality of war powers generally, which a lot of people don't believe is constitutional to begin with. Congressman, again, thank you for being here. Also yesterday, Israel and Lebanon did agree to implement a ceasefire deal, but notably Hezbollah not part of the agreement, and that could create a great deal of risk going forward. Here's an article from the Washington Post saying, quote, historically, the Lebanese army, which sometimes works alongside Hezbollah, has avoided taking measures that would displace the powerful militant group or antagonize it. If not smoothly executed, the new plan could put the 2 Lebanese factions in direct confrontation and even risk civil war. Talk to us about this and whether or not this ceasefire, which we believe the president pushed for, could ultimately imperil Israel, or it's a risk worth taking?
Look, I think anytime you could try to get to peace, it is a risk worth taking, and that's simply because nobody wants to be in long-term military conflict. And so I think if the Israelis can find a way with the Lebanese army to draw that peace and end hostilities, that's a good thing. What it really does is it isolates Hezbollah in that region. So if you have an isolated Hezbollah, you have an Iranian regime flat on their back. That's actually a positive thing for the Israelis and their personal security in their country. But that's a negotiation that Bibi Netanyahu and the Lebanese have to continue. Our focus here in America is supporting the president to get an agreement that works for America and its allies with the Iranians, and then continuing to focus on the domestic agenda here at home.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.